I want to save this too. Thanks. So duplicatability, the quality of being reproducible. And it's something that I've only recently really placed super, super strong value on because my team has gotten so big. And when people are asking me questions, it's like, oh yeah, well, I've done that and it's in this file or it's here or it's there. And I'm like, well, it's great that I have it somewhere, but how can I make it better so that anyone and everyone can access it, and anyone and everyone in the downline, whether or not their coach is available or their coach even exists anymore, or their coach, like for me, my coach and I don't have a relationship. We haven't spoken in over a year. So like I dig way up the upline to learn and grow and build, and from people like you and like people, just other leaders. I learn from other leaders. And so what in my mind is like, just because my coach isn't there, I still want to have, things to tap into. And we're fortunate that our upline has those things. So I could go there. And I mean, we all have the online office. We all have YouTube. We all have all these tools that we can be successful with anyways. But for me, being an active leader, I wanted to have something that was duplicatable. And I wanted to have something that anyone could plug into, whether or not their coach was there to answer their questions. And in all honesty, we don't want people being dependent upon us. We want them to be independent of us and to flourish. So I've struggled for so long on what system to use for my coaches. Do you do a group? Do you do a Coach Basics group? Do you do a revolving door training? Do you? So now just after Coach Summit, I created a website for my team, which was totally not what I wanted to even talk about, but I have a team training site now, and everything in my mind, every time I do something, I think, how can I duplicate this? How can I make this so that anyone else can use it? Brooke Dorset has always been really good at identifying how to do things. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And I'm like, I just do it. And people are like, well, how did you build it? Well, I just added friends well, now I'm having to go back, and I'll tell you the kinds of things that I am doing. I'm going to really break it down, because I don't know where everybody's at on this call, like rank wise, if you're new coaches or if you're emeralds or if you're diamonds, or where, like everyone, right?
It's a mixture. Yeah. You've got some star diamonds, some diamonds, emerald. Yeah. It's total mixture. It was just specifically, it was a rank it up group. So whatever your rank was, we figured you can learn, right?
Perfect. Okay. So I think I'm touching on a little bit of everything, and hopefully even, it's a great reminder for myself sometimes too. I want to talk about, if you cannot duplicate it, it's not worth doing. Someone told me that a while back, and it really stuck with me. I was like, somebody mentioned it to me, and then my corporate mentor actually asked me, he's like, so you're doing XYZ on social media. Tell me why you're doing it and how someone else can duplicate that. And I was like, that's a really great question. I don't know why I'm doing it, and I don't know how that's duplicatable. So having to reverse engineer and go back. So number 1, I want to talk about how you can make being a coach to clients or challengers duplicatable. How you can make being a coach on social media duplicatable. And how you can make being a coach to coaches or to your team duplicatable. So number 1 is being a coach to clients. Number 2 is being a coach on social media. And number 3 is being a coach to coaches. I have to close my Facebook. Just a second. Okay. So number 1, how can you make being a coach to clients or challengers duplicatable? Number 1, think to yourself, what are the common questions that I'm always asked, right? How many times have you answered the same question over and over and over and over again? So to me, it was like, how can I stop answering that question and quote unquote wasting my time? I can create a document about it, or I can create a video about it. So like when anybody starts a program, I don't necessarily have a challenge group starting the day that they're starting. And quite frankly, I'm working on my accountability group right now, and I haven't run a challenge in 3 months. So I'm bringing my accountability group back. So when somebody orders a program or a challenge pack, I can send them the document that's, it's all about taking your before measurements, your before pictures, how emotional it's going to be what that experience is going to be like for you, potentially like the most devastating day of your life when you take those photos. Like the vulnerability of it is like, it's really hard. So I feel like that's a conversation that I want to have with people, but how can I have that and make it duplicatable so I can have that same genuine conversation with someone and not have to do it every single time? So create a document about it, create a video about it. What other questions are you asked all the time? I don't see X on the approved foods list. So you can have a simple video or a simple document that says at the top, if it's not on the list, it's not approved, right? Or I'm not sure if almond milk is counted. So you make the same video like Autumn has, or share Autumn's video that's videotaped or something. There's like a video of a video that almond milk is free. So you have this repository of documents and you have this repository of videos that's easily searchable. I personally, do you guys use Google Docs? Yeah, lifesaver, right? In case your computer crashes or anything. I love it. And then you can edit things as you go and people still have the same static link, right? It's genius. I love the ability to make small tweaks in my business. If something changes, it's like, oh, I'll go change it. Or somebody notices an error, I go change it. So I love Google Docs. So like how to duplicate being a coach to clients, I think just like that is think of different questions that you're asked all the time that you can make easily accessible. I often do videos about form too, because people complain about my knees are really sore. I'm not sure if I'm doing squats or lunges right. So I have a video, and when you make your videos, this is just another aside, to make it so that it's duplicatable, but it's not, I mean, like our Beachbody videos, they're timeless for the most part, except for like Country Heat, because they're using current everyday music. But if you go back to P90X3, like it's music that's timeless. It's just elevator music, right? So if you can avoid saying the day of the week or what the weather's like outside, or, I mean, you can still take them outside or whatever, but the more that you can make it reusable and authentically now and current, again, your hair color is going to change, things are going to change, but like I've blatantly reused videos and they're from a long time ago. And again, it's not a huge deal. But if you want to reuse for like a sneak peek into coaching, or you want to use for something else like that, it's really nice to now think in advance of not using, days of the week, months, times, anything that kind of makes it so that it's past and not current. Sorry guys, I thought I had strep throat last week, but they said I had laryngitis. So I've been like not speaking all day to try and save up for my evening calls or my GSRs. So excuse me while I'm like getting nasally and just disappearing a little bit. I love calls, so I would never ever bail. So videos and documents, I have that. And I find that I reuse them a lot just in my accountability group or just in my challenge group in general. So not just when I'm specifically asked about form, but sometimes when you're lacking that inspiration to get up and post on the daily, it's like, what can I share today? Hey guys, a bunch of you are probably starting week 2 of your program and starting to notice some aches and pains. This is something that commonly happens is, you're doing your squats, you're doing your lunges, but how do you know if you're actually doing it right? So I'm no personal trainer, but I've got this form tip video that I've created just from listening to the trainers and watching and learning as I go. Hopefully you can pick up on a few things and just make some minor tweaks to your form so that X, Y, Z, right? I love doing those. Push-up form is another one that's really easy to duplicate. A lot of people don't do push-ups properly. They don't know to lead with their chest. They lead with their nose. So it's just a simple tweak. Their back's not curved anymore. Their chest is up. And suddenly they're able to pound out push-ups. Whereas last week they were saying I couldn't do one. It's just that simple form tweak and they can do it. So make it duplicatable. How can you make it into a video or a document with a visual that's going to show them how to do that? I love duplicatability. Another one is, what app do you use, Alida? You always post these pictures or you're posting these. How do you do that collage? I want to do that collage of videos like you. So I have a document that says Alida's favorite apps. And it shows pictures of the apps, where you can get the apps, if I use it for video, if I use it for photo, if I use it for whatever. So even if coaches ask or clients ask, I can just send them the link to my Alida's favorite which is totally outdated, by the way. Ugh. I even have a video on how to use pick, play, post, which is also outdated because it changed and I updated. But like I literally am on the video like this, and I have my phone up and I'm showing them how to make, accessing it. But people are like, oh, I get it now. I was missing that part. So and you don't have to, my team call last night, people were like, number one question, number one thing they were struggling with was how to expand my network. I was like, that is a really great question. Let's open up a Google browser. Expand your network, Beachbody Coach. Just like 200,000 videos that pop up. I was like, have you Googled that? Because there's some really great videos here. Just before the call, I listened to one and it was like 7 minutes long and I took nuggets away from it. Like, I'm only one person. You can expand your network in so many different ways. So, don't get overwhelmed. I don't want anybody to get overwhelmed by thinking I have to create all these things, because you totally don't. Check your ego at the door. Check yourself. Use somebody else's video, right? Until you get to the point that you can create your own. I love different people on our team, but sometimes, holy Hannah, like 5 minutes in and I see there's 42 to go and I'm like, I'm not going to make it through this call. So great content, I'm sure, but I'm peacing out. Like I'm done. My attention span, I'm totally like squirrel, because my attention span just is not there, and I'm not an emerald personality. You got to keep me with the fun. You got to keep me engaged or I'm peacing out real fast. That's why I often create a lot of my own stuff to keep it like 2 to 7 minutes. Short, sweet. Oh, and that's why I use Coach Caleb. Isn't he great? Like, if you find anything or need anything, I'm like, what can I post in my coach page today? I'm going to find Coach Caleb. So, give me a sec here. So those are a few things with regard to how can you make being a coach to clients duplicatable. The last few things with that is, people always say, oh, you have a website and you have a blog. I don't really have a blog. What I do is save my good posts to a blog so that on days that I'm like, I can just copy and paste them and make them current. I love it. I love the ability to just repurpose my posts and repurpose anything, So often go back through my Facebook, and if I haven't just uploaded it to my website, and you totally don't need a website, you can just do it on Google Docs. Save it in Google Docs. But in Google Docs, if you save a photo, which I've just learned this past week, you can't save them. So if you create something for your team that has photos in it, they can't copy the exact photo that's in there, right? So now I'm creating a new folder. If I have, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, if I have something like really great posts that I have in a document, so people are like, I don't really know what to post. What's a good post? Well, here's a list of the posts, and then here's an album with the photos that go with the post. So I do post the photo in the document, but then I also create a folder with the photos so they can just download them all. I'm sure that there's an easier way to do it, or another system or way to do it. But I actually have this on Google Docs, a Google Drive link to a folder. So, I'm jumping way ahead now. I can segue right into how to make coaching duplicatable, coaching your coaches duplicatable. So with this whole duplicatability thing, recently I started thinking, okay, so sample conversations. Again, I'm one person. We have a whackload of leaders on our team who have the ability to share their conversations. What's the hang up, right? You're pushing for elite. You want elite points. How do you get elite points? One of the ways is with Success Club. When the number of your coaches in your downline hit Success Club and you hit Success Club, that number doubles. How do you hit Success Club? By selling challenge packs. How do you sell challenge packs? By transitioning people when they're interested in a program to explaining the value of a challenge pack, right? How do you explain the value of a challenge pack? Easy. When I have a conversation that's going really well and I present the difference between the program and the challenge pack and what comes with it and XYZ, I save the conversation and then I have it in a document. And then I have the documents in a folder on my Google Drive. So now, just this 2 weeks ago, I guess, I created sample conversations folder on my Google Drive. And in the folder is different folders inside the folder. So there's sample conversations for presenting the free registration link. Do you guys do accountability groups or just challenge groups? Just challenge groups? Accountability groups? A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about when I even talk about that.
We used to run an accountability group, but it's kind of gone out the window. So now we've started doing more of the repetitive challenge group. So like people don't have to leave. They can stay in there. So it's basically like your challenge group is your group.
Right. So, yeah. So, okay, I want to come back to that, Christina. So now presenting the free, so different conversations, so different folders is presenting the free registration link. Yeah, I'm definitely going to explain that. And then different ones like presenting the coaching opportunity. So now all of my leaders can copy and paste their conversations because my personality is only one way. You know, there's probably people on my team who don't talk like me, who don't act like me, who walk, talk, and act like me. They're just not like me, right? Like, they may talk like somebody else. So I feel like if we have a repository of all these different conversations on how people are presenting the coaching opportunity, because we're all doing it, now we just have it in a system that's duplicatable. So there's the folder, and then in that is more folders, and I'm just trying to get all of my leaders to continuously copy and paste stuff. Did you watch the Chelsea Pearson video about creating boundaries? I kind of got this idea from her because she said, you know, our job, we're not therapists, but we often become a therapist. So what you need to do is equip yourself with tools. When somebody comes to you and they're complaining about their marriage, you need to have a list of resources that you can provide to them and say, you know what? I can appreciate that you're struggling with this. And these are some really handy tools that I've come across and used myself or heard of through my clients and other friends that are really, really helpful in relationships. Link to a Google Drive folder. And in there is a document that has like whatever you find, whatever you come across, like the 5 love languages, the 5 love languages test, I don't know, some other video or whatever, right? Like take the monkey off your back. Don't be the counselor, give them the resources. And I was like, boom, I am totally going to do this with all kinds of things for my team. How can I have a repository of stuff that everybody can use? So I do have a team training site. So a lot of my stuff is on my team training site. Thanks, Dave. But it's all like the links on my team training site, they all go to my Google Drive. So it could just be in your team page, right? So accountability group. I came from a coach who didn't ever do challenge groups. Like there was no such thing when I started coaching, no such thing that I even knew of. What was a challenge group? All I knew was that my coach ran a group, and that's where people who were doing Beachbody programs or not posted about fitness, posted about nutrition, and posted their accountability. I was in her group for like 6 months before I even bought a Beachbody program. So for a lot of my coaches, or all of my coaches, that's how we start, is you just have a group, and it's a place that's a safe environment for anyone and everyone who's wanting to better themselves with fitness, nutrition. And they can be going to the gym, doing CrossFit, whatever. But it allows us the opportunity when they join the group, everybody has to do the free registration to make me their coach. So it allows me the ability to talk about, you know, the tips or the tools and resources on teambeachbody.com, the progress and goals tracker, the recipes, and then say, you know, when you start seeing what we're posting about our workouts and stuff, you may start getting curious. So there's a shop tab and you can check out our workout programs, but don't do anything. Because first I want you to talk to me, and I want to know what your goals are and what your capabilities are, and you know, so I can help kind of narrow down what one would be maybe a better fit for you. And then typically they end up doing like Beachbody on Demand trial and do that for a week, and then they want to buy a program. So that is, a lot of my clients are free clients, and so I don't do other free groups. I used to. I don't now, because like if I offered a free clean eating challenge, there'd be like 3,000 people that wanted to do it, and I'm not doing it anymore. But that's how I built my whole business: free groups, free clean eating challenges. Do you want me to just keep going with where the call is going? Because again, this is power of duplicatability. This is how it started for me, was the clean eating challenge. So now when my coaches sign up, I want them to launch their first clean eating challenge within 7 days. And you tell somebody that you want them to launch their first clean eating challenge in 7 days, and they're like, what? Challenge? What? Launch what? Sorry? So they have a few lessons that they need to do. But then, because I've made things duplicatable, in the training, they know how to open a Facebook group. They know how to set the settings. They know how to create a banner on PicMonkey, because I've made all videos on this, 2 minutes, showing them how to do it. And then they have a link to the rules of the group, the recipes, and the posts. It's simple plug and play. Literally plug and play. And the last clean eating challenge that I did, that I want all of my new people to use, I dug deeper than just superficial when I created it. So it really gets into why people are eating, like emotional eating and, those psychological issues, why and how people use food and reward themselves with food, and just really getting into some deep stuff like that. And it opens people up a lot in that first 5 days. So again, it's just plug and play, because the system and everything is just available. It can be super overwhelming though if you're on the receiving end of like, I don't have any videos, I don't have any documents. Don't worry, because you can go and Google somebody else's for whatever it is, or you can start tomorrow when you're in the middle of your workout and you're like, oh wow, bicep curls. Oh yeah, that's a really good point, Shanti. When your elbow is behind your hip, you're working your shoulder, not your bicep. Okay, how can I make a quick video about this, or go live in my challenge group and say, hey guys, just wanted to shoot you a quick little tip. All of us love, doing curls for girls or working on biceps, and just share that little tip or trick with them, Anyways, make it duplicatable. Anything can be duplicatable as long as you just start doing it. Start recording a video, start making a document tomorrow, and then you have this repository. And it's crazy looking back now at how much stuff I had, because I remember when I started and I was like, oh my gosh, Chris Ballmer has this website, and like he's got this video, and he's got this, and he's got that. And a lot of the stuff that I use now, like videos from 2 years ago. And if it needs to be updated, it updates. But one of the most common ones that I share is the scale. The scale is a liar. Ditch the frickin' scale. I have 3 scale videos now, and I cry in one of them because I'm so passionate about the scale. I have a whole bunch of different. Would it help you if I gave you a list of different videos that I've created for this duplicatable thing? Okay, cool. It was really neat. I went back through my YouTube channel and I found all these videos of my kids while I was making a list for the call. Shanna, are you eating bubbles? No! Like she's sitting there eating bubbles out of the sink. It was hilarious. So we've been laughing all night. Okay. So with the clean eating challenge, I have I've created like a day 1 intro video and a closing video. And then the day after, I do a cheat video, and I have me with a glass of wine, and I'm like drinking wine, and I have my chips and dip in front of me to show them that I'm human too. The scale is a liar. I have a PicMonkey one. I often do a picture instead of just posting some motivational quote from Google. I will find a quote and I'll find a picture of myself and I'll fade it out and I put the quote on it. So I have a video on how to do that, how to create a simple photo of yourself faded out with a quote. It's just kind of nice to have it more you, right? And then people don't just use it as their own. People steal your stuff. It has me on it, and then it has alidasteele.com in a really obvious spot that they can't crop it out. Jace Lundgren does that, Coach Jace in the middle. And I was like, oh, that's a really good idea, because that is hers. She should make it hers. So I do that now. Other things like for when you have your own team, running reports for Success Club and PV. A lot of people don't know how to do that. So when they have, and they want to start their own coach group and they want to start doing recognition, they don't know how to do it. So I have a video showing them how to do that. I actually did that because I had an assistant at one point and I was like, now I have to teach her how to do me. how do I teach her to walk, talk, and act like me? So I had to do a video to show her how. And that's another way that I was like, oh, now I can make duplicatability for my coaches. So last week I shared one on how to run a report for top recruiters, because some of my coaches were like, I want to know who is the top recruiter for the week or for the month. So I made a video on that. I just played around with columns and I was like, how can I make this? It turns out that you can actually filter by coach ID. So that's how I've been doing it, because I can't figure out any other way. And it lumps their names together. My fave core moves is another video that I've done, because a lot of people ask, like, how do you get a six-pack? Well, aside from the kitchen, these are my favorite core moves. And they're not like sit-ups. So it's other things. It's like Shanti moves, like high knees and toe taps and fun stuff. Push-up form. The post-workout high. I have a video that's after my workout and I'm like riding that crazy, and I just did a video and like, this is what you have to remember, this high. Remember how you feel post-workout when you don't want to get up off the couch. You have to remember the high. So I have a video that's showing me in my high. You got to be a 2 feet in coach. I have one of those videos because a lot of people, like, if you're starting out and you're like, well, I'm going to try this for a few weeks. It's like every single time that something doesn't work on social media or doesn't work the way that you thought, you're going to take that and you're going to deposit it as proof, right? You're always looking at a reason why coaching isn't going to work. So you need to be 2 feet in and you need to believe in it and stop looking for ways that it's not working. Be 2 feet in, believe, and go balls to the walls, believing in yourself, or this isn't going to work. You can't, you can take the same event and use it as proof and deposit it for failure, or you can look at it as how you can sharpen and improve upon yourself for future. So we don't do quitting, right? It's funny, a girl on my team call last night was like, yeah, I mean, if you tell me that you're going to quit coaching, what you're telling me is that you're going to quit working out, you're going to quit eating healthy, and you're going to quit sharing about it. Straight up. Because that's what coaching is. And I was like, yeah, right? It's pretty easy. But it is work. If you want to make a full-time go of it, right? But it's the best job in the whole world to me. What are other videos? Do you want me to keep going? I have a whole list, but I think you get where I'm going with it. Like fitness and nutrition go hand in hand. People are like, oh, well, I'm rocking my workout. Well, that's great, but you're kind of missing the nutrition part, which is 75%. So I often say, like, think about it like this. Your cell phone cracked. You're going to go out and jump on it, smash it into a whole lot of little pieces. So normally people say, well, when my nutrition's not on par, I just kind of feel like, oh, okay, I'm not going to work out. I'm like, okay, so go jump on your cell phone. Go jump on it. Because, I mean, you can still use it with a crack. You can still use it. And they're like, oh, really? That's a really good point. So I try to look at those analogies. Fitness and nutrition. Can I eat after dinner? Again, people ask those things all the time. And then the eat more, lose less. Because people often think that if they don't eat, they're going to lose weight. But the reality is that when you actually eat and keep your metabolism running, you're going to burn calories and burn fat instead of storing it and gaining weight. Most people are under eating. That's why we have the 21-day fix. And they learn, holy bananas, I can't eat all that food. Yeah. Does anybody have questions on that stuff? I don't even know how long your team calls normally go.
Usually yeah, no, it's cool. Usually like a half hour. So, I mean, it's perfect. Now we can have people ask questions. So that was perfect, Alida. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Alida, you said these videos, you gave us some like examples. Do you have one that like actually shows like your free and clean eating group, like how you've done it? Because now you've intrigued me. I'm interested.
I can give you everything for my clean eating challenge. Like I can give you guys the full. It's in my Google Drive. It's on my team training site. So I'll just copy it over and shoot it to you right away, and you can see the. It'll have the rules of the group. It'll have the menus and all the posts.
I love I love the fact that you talked about doing like a free accountability groups, because I know like that's something Julie I talked about before too. And I know she talked about like she just has created like support group like with the women. It started off with her friends and now it's kind of grown. So I like the fact that you are doing that group.
That's my main group. Like I haven't done a challenge in three months. So I'm just posting in there, and so like I have 827 people in it.
That's awesome.
So there's always people, and that's another thing. Like when I see people in, let's say, a mom's group, and people are posting like, "Does anybody have a 21-day fix?" And everybody gets tag. Well, my secret is that I add them as a friend. I will comment and say, "It looks like you've been helped out. Looks like you're well taken care of. But should you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to contact me." That's all I say. I'm like, there's 25 people above me. I'm not out like cutthroat. I'm going to get that one. I just add friend, wait for them to accept. And then I message and say, hey girl, saw your post. Just wanted to touch base and make sure that you got some information about XYZ. And when they come back, they're like, well, yeah, but she told me it's $164. And I just can't afford that right now. And I was like, that opens the door for me because that coach just dropped a price and ran. And I'm like, okay, for me, it's a whole lot more than just selling you a program. If I told you that I could provide you with a mix and match menu of healthy meal ideas for breakfast, lunch, and supper and some snacks, and I gave you a couple YouTube links for videos to help you get started, I don't use that anymore. I use Beachbody On Demand. I say, would that help you to get started? I actually have a group where you can be part of my community and we can help you get started without any money. And you know what? 1 week, 2 weeks later, they're like, I really want to buy that challenge pack. I gave them something for nothing and they trust me. They trust that I actually cared about their well-being and I wasn't going for a sale. I wasn't. I genuinely, I started this whole coaching thing because I wanted to help people. I was starting a free group. And I asked my coach, I get the impression that you're actually running some sort of business with this. I was thinking about starting a Facebook group. Am I stepping on any toes? And she was like, well, actually, no, I was going to do it anyway. So that's how I build my business, is just lead with true heart. And I want to help them whether or not they buy something. Yeah. And then when it is sale time, you can post about it when you're doing your video and be like, and FYI, this baby's on discount as a challenge pack this month. And the number of messages when you have 817 people in your group is like, oh, well, now's my time, right? I love it. I love it. But sometimes I feel like a failure because I don't run challenge groups every month like I should. We all have our...
If it's working for you, that's awesome. If it's working for you. So what you do is you put out invites to your free challenge group, and then those people, then you add them, and then you add them into your group. You add them as coach, or they put you as their coach, and then you add them into your free group.
Always have to make me their coach before they join my group. Yeah, always.
Right. But do you post invites to get into that group? How do you get people into that group?
For the most part now, it's attraction marketing. People come to me. In the beginning, I had to just add friends on Facebook. Every night before bed, it was like, okay, I'm just going to find, suggested friends. And if there's more than 10, I'm going to add them. I'm going to add 3. I'm going to add 3. I'm going to add 3. I did that and I added 3. But I think a lot of people do that and they miss the warming your cold market part, where you actually like and comment on their stuff and engage and warm the cold market and message them occasionally about stuff that's on their profile. And then eventually they start seeing more of your stuff and you develop a relationship and they're like, hey, I saw that you mentioned that you had this. A lot of times I just post on my social media and I talk about I shared this with my free accountability group on Facebook today, but I thought I would share it here because I bet some of you could benefit. Mm-hmm. That's how I drop my invites. And people are like, you have a free group? Yeah, of course I have a free group. So that's kind of how I do it without being like, hey, I have this challenge coming up, or this. I do still do, challenge group invites, but I'm at a point now that I'm more subtle in my approach, and I've never really been a cold inviter. It's something I struggle with, and my whole team struggles as a result because I don't like to just cold invite. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I start getting really self-conscious on calls sometimes and start thinking like, am I doing everything wrong?
No.
It's so funny how we work like that, hey?
No, you're so awesome. And thank you so, so much, Alida. You're so sweet. And yeah, we'd love to see the docs that you said you would send.
Yeah. I mean, I could just give you access to my team training site and you can copy it.
Hey, I love that. I always love information.
Yeah. So, I totally don't mind doing that. The stuff is changing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just a second. Password is new coach.
You're awesome. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
There's no secrets in this business, right?
I agree 150%.
It's just our approach, and it's just execution, and it's just how we deliver it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
The free clean eating challenge on there. Okay, the website's messy right now. My new onboarding system and all my straight up training is under the start here tab. And then everything that used to be on the site is just dumped into ongoing training. It's just dumped. Emerald Diamond is, honestly, it's still there. It's like if somebody uses a search bar, they can find something. But the stuff that I've been really working on is that Start Here tab. But all my challenge group guides and training group guides are under more and coaching tools. So there's like sneak peek into coaching, like all the posts for a sneak peek, your post for an Emerald group, push to Emerald, your post for anything. This is my duplicatable system.
That's awesome, Alida. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Don't tell anybody though. But really, sharing is caring in this business, and I mean, it is what it is.
Thank you very, very much.
You're the best.
So generous of you.
I wouldn't be where I am if people didn't share things with me. So, I mean, I'm sure that you guys would do the same for me. And
absolutely.
Yeah. I hope that you find it to be of value, and there's some little nuggets here and there that might help.
Thank you so much. All right, honey.
Thanks for having me. Okay, go to bed, people.
Night.
Get your kids to bed.
Well, thank God. My husband's awesome. He already put them down. Thank God.
Oh, I love it. Now you guys can chill. Okay, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye, hon.